Hey there retro lovers, welcome back to the channel Feeling Retro, where we enjoy, review and sometimes just simply admire all things retro. We particularly love retro electronics like the one I've got with us today. If you haven't seen us unboxing this already, check out the video here. If you have seen that and you're ready to find out a bit more about this console, then stay right here. In today's video we're going to learn a little bit more about this console, where it came from, and who knew that Panasonic made video game consoles. The 3DO Interactive Multiplayer, or the three-dimensional operating system as it's spelled out, is a 5th generation console following in the footsteps of giants like Atari 2600 and the Sega Master System. It was first released in the United States in 1993 and was originally manufactured by Panasonic. It was among the first generation of consoles to use CD-ROMs instead of cartridges, and it was promoted with the tagline, "The most advanced video game system in the universe." Some of its most popular titles were ports from arcade and computer games that would not be supported on cartridges. The 3DO was a rather unusual system that would be a do-it-all feature in households. The aim was for it to be a bit like a TV, VCR, CD player, video game system and PC all wrapped into one. Despite a poor set of launch games, a lack of non-game content and a high price at the time of around $700, the 3DO boasted some impressive features. It ran CDs, which offered a huge amount of space to store games and programs. The system could run up to 8 controllers and it had its own internal memory to save and load games. It certainly had a lot going for it in the way of being the most advanced video game system in the universe. So the retail price of the unit at the time of launch was $700, which was about £500 in 1993. Accounting for inflation, that works out about £1,068 in today's money. So high expectations were therefore placed on the console, as this was, for most households, an awful lot of money, especially considering that Sony launched their PlayStation 1 console at $299 or £218 only 2 years later. That would be about £400 in today's money. The console did, however, have a wide range of games available on it. In fact, there were hundreds of titles, some of which, like Gex, a game where you play as a gecko to fight enemies and smash through elements of its polygon environment, sold over 1 million copies. Whilst other games like Shadow, War of Succession were, well, apparently dreadful. Many accessories were released with the console, including steering wheels, light guns, and a much needed memory expansion to add to the 32K of internal memory. So, despite its progressive technology, a wide range of games and accessories, the 3DO just couldn't compete with its top rivals like the Sega Saturn and the N64, which all quickly became a well-established 16-bit or cartridge consoles. The system was actually discontinued in 1996. The 3DO company then focused exclusively on software development, publishing many popular titles for the PlayStation, Saturn and PC, including Starfighter and the Army Men series. The 3DO company, which was a video game company established right back in 1991, actually exited the hardware business and became a third-party video game developer. They actually went bankrupt completely in 2003 due to poor sales of games. And we can see here that it's got the CD tray on the front, which at the time, 1993, was, well, completely unseen on a video game console. If you remember, the N64 cartridge style of gameplay was the norm. So to have a tray on the front and an open close button was, well, fairly revolutionary. Let's power up and open close. Nice, okay. So, imagine back in 1993, I would have only been 3 years old, so hard for me to imagine. But popping a disc in there for the first time and being excited to play a game must have been great. Maybe more so if you were playing Gex, maybe not so much if you were playing one of the many dreadful titles that were apparently released for this. And actually, a good point, if you have a memory of playing this, drop us a comment in the comments section. I want to know what the best games were for this And I also want to know what the worst games were for this as well. You must have some good memories if you're watching this video, or bad memories. Now, the 3DO was a rather unusual concept overall, in that it was a fully upgradable system that was licensed out to other manufacturers, meaning that whilst we have Panasonic written on our box here, it could actually have been one of a number of different manufacturers that bought the license to sell these, including Gold Star or Sanyo, it could have been. And we can see at the back here, that port for the memory that I mentioned earlier. Here it says expansion. Now, I'm guessing that that is for extra memory. I could actually have a look in our operational guide, which actually I've been clearly told on the front that we should have read in its entirety before, but who's actually doing that? Here we can see the line coming from that port to the expansion port, which says slot provided for future expansion for peripheral devices which utilize high-speed data transfer. I actually don't have any of that memory expansion, but if you have and you think I'm right or wrong about this port, let me know in the comment section below. On the back here we also have our different sockets here for the RF cable, the S-video, as well as for our audio and video output as well. Oh, S-video, not RFU. So our RFU cable goes in here. We've then got our yellow lead for video and our red and white leads here for audio. With a bit of a push, they connect in at the back. We then also have our SCART adapter, which is where I will probably be putting these audio and video cables, RCA cables in. And I'm going to be totally honest, I don't fully know how to use these two cables, so we will wait and see. Check out the other video that we'll be uploading in this series with the 3DO, where we set this up to a telly and actually give it a go with my mystery game that we've bought online. So if we quickly spin the console around and come around to the front, we'll see that at the front here we have a port for our controller. Now, you might be wondering, as I said earlier in this video, how can this be an 8-player multiplayer console when there's only clearly one port here on a PS4 or whatever? Now you'd expect there to be 4 ports or something. That's actually because you could do what they call daisy chaining, which meant that you could plug in a controller here, which we can actually do, and this then creates a chain of controllers. So we have the one, and we can then plug in a series of 7 more controllers which all hook up to the game. We do have a boxed pad here, so let's check it out. So we have our pad, which again has another port on the top there. And we should be able to plug this. Dan tends to do most of our editing here on Feeling Retro, and he likes nothing more than having a good laugh at me struggling, or sometimes just not knowing what I'm doing, which happens more than you might think. So in our controller port here, we can take the cable from the other controller, which is this one, and plug it in. We then have what you would call a chain of controllers, which could go on 7 times until you've got 8 controllers. Really cool idea, I think. I actually don't think I've seen that in another console, so let us know if there were more that did that. I don't recall that happening with any other consoles that I've had or seen, so interesting to find out. Well, thanks for joining us again, retro lovers. Remember to subscribe to the channel and check out the video that's coming up soon, where we hook this 3DO console by Panasonic up to an old school retro TV and we have a quick play on it. We upload videos every Friday at 7 o'clock, and we're really working on trying to get our content covering things that you're interested in. So let us know in the comments section what you're excited to see, and we'll have a go at finding it and using it. As I always say, we're not experts, but we are absolute enthusiasts. So you let us know what you're enthusiastic about as well. Subscribe to the channel, and if you weren't already, I hope you are now feeling retro.